Duncan is a 14-year-old boy who is extremely shy and withdrawn. His family plans to spend their summer vacation at a beach house by the ocean. Duncan travels there with his mother Pam, her wealthy boyfriend Trent, and his spoiled daughter Steph. During the drive, Trent asks Duncan to rate himself on a scale from 1 to 10. Duncan responds with a 6, but Trent mockingly says he would only rate him a 3. The man feels deeply hurt upon hearing this. Shortly after, our heroes arrive at their new home, which is spacious and quite cozy. The family soon meets their neighbor, Betty. She tends to drink a lot and is always talking. Betty has a teenage daughter named Suzanne, who is just as unsociable as Duncan. Betty shares the latest gossip with the neighbors and complains about her challenging relationship with her children. Steph decides to go to the beach, and Duncan is reluctantly made to accompany her so that Pam and Trent can have some time alone together. The girl heads out with her girlfriends, and they spend time talking about guys. During this, Duncan is defiantly ignored by everyone, so he decides to head back home. There, he meets Betty's youngest son, Peter, who is quite intelligent and resourceful. Later in the afternoon, Duncan is lying on Trent's car, listening to music with his headphones and singing along to his favorite song. Susanna notices him, and upon seeing her, Duncan quickly runs away. Once back at home, he meets more of his neighbors, the lively Joan and her husband Kip, both of whom are quite cheerful. Guy is reluctantly made to dance along with Joan and Pam. The grown men are not pleased with this and decide to turn off the music. Kip and Joan linger for dinner, engaging in a lively chat with Trent and Pam, sharing amusing stories from their younger days. Throughout the evening, Duncan remains silent, not speaking a single word. He heads upstairs and observes that Suzanne's room is directly across the hall from his own. The teenagers start a somewhat awkward conversation about music, and Duncan admits to his roommate that he feels his life is overwhelmingly difficult. Early in the morning, Duncan quietly sneaks out of the house and makes his way into the garage. There, he discovers a pink bicycle and decides to start exploring the city. He stops at a nearby pizzeria to grab some lemonade and meets a man named Owen, who is passionate about computer games. Later, Duncan returns home and finds out that Kip and Joan have invited them to join a sailing trip on their boat. Betty and Suzanne also join them. They sail around the bay, chatting and gossiping about all sorts of things in the world. Duncan is made to put on a life jacket, even though he is a very good swimmer. This really makes him extremely angry. Why does everyone treat him like a little kid? In the evening, while the adults keep having fun, Duncan is left feeling miserable and alone. The same situation repeats itself the following day. Duncan hops on his pink bike once more and rides away from home. He arrives at the Water Wizwater Park and observes many adults and children enjoying themselves there. The guy notices Owen standing there. It turns out that this man actually works here. On the way back, Duncan meets Suzanne, and the girl admits she really misses her father a lot. The guy replies that he faces the same issue and decides to head to the beach, as he doesn't want to go back to his family. In the middle of the night, he eventually returns home and ends up having a fight with Trent. The following day, Duncan heads back to the water park once more. Owen asks the guy to swap his jeans for swim trunks and introduces him to his coworker Lewis. The man hands Duncan a brand new pair of swim trunks. Furthermore, our hero also encounters a water park employee named Caitlin. Owen then takes Duncan to see the largest water slide in the park. This slide is known as Devil's Peak. Apparently, there's an entire legend surrounding this particular slide. It is said that there exists a secret passage on it, which allows you to surpass the person riding ahead of you. Duncan finds this information extremely fascinating. Owen goes on to introduce our hero to yet another water park employee named Roddy. He enjoys his job since he can always see people in swimsuits. Duncan also tries a water slide and has a blast, though he loses his swim trunks. After the park closes, Owen offers Duncan a ride home. During the drive, Duncan admits he's really bored here, so Owen offers him a seasonal job at the water park. Our hero, naturally, agrees. Before long, both the adults and the young people are having yet another party. Duncan feels once more like an outsider, as if no one really needs him. Suzanne extends an invitation to him to join her and her brother Peter on a ghost crab hunt. Duncan agrees to go with them, and they exchange various stories from their lives during the outing. That evening, they both enjoy watching the holiday fireworks display together. When Duncan returns home, he notices Trent is making out with Joan. It turns out that their secret affair has been happening for many years. The guy doesn't mention to anyone what he witnessed. The following day, Duncan heads to work at the water park. His initial task is to stop a group of teenagers who have decided to breakdance right in the center of the park. Duncan insists that one of the dancers stop, and the guy responds that he will only leave if Duncan dances as well. The guy agrees, and then he starts his awkward dance. One of the girls shows him some new dance moves, and Duncan even manages to spin on his head. It's a great success. Our hero is really pleased. He absolutely loves his new job and gets immense pleasure from it. Then, one day, a few kids go down the slide out of turn and end up getting stuck in the tube. Owen announces that he needs a hero. This person has to accelerate, jump into the tube, and push the boys forward. The dark-skinned guy agrees to do it and is launching teenagers like champagne corks. Amazingly, no one gets hurt. Caitlin scolds Owen for being reckless and breaks up with him. They were secretly involved. Pam desires just one evening alone with her family. They play a children's board game, but Trent is upset and cursing because he wanted to invite Joanne and Kip. Pam senses something is off with her husband. The following day, Duncan heads to a water park, unaware that Susanna is secretly following him. As Duncan hangs out with Owen, preparing for the park's opening, Susanna makes her move and approaches him. Duncan decides to give his girlfriend a tour of Water Weiss, and they end up having a wonderful time together. They eventually return home together. Unfortunately, the atmosphere at home grows even more toxic. Steph is feeling down about her love life. Trent is absent for dinner, which causes Pam to be very worried. When Trent comes back, Pam throws a jealous fit at him. The man lies and says he went boating with Kip. As night approaches, another party happens on the beach. Joan asks Trent to dance with her. Kip casually mentions that his boat has been broken for a whole week. Pam starts crying, and Duncan asks his mother to leave Trent, who is unfaithful. A man tries to calm Duncan, but the boy mothers him and shoves him away. A fight almost erupts. Trent hurls an insult at Duncan, claiming that even his own father doesn't want him around. Our hero is left in tears and runs off. Susanna discovers him and attempts to offer her support. Duncan desires to kiss her, but she turns him down, leaving him to return home feeling even more distraught. He overhears Trent apologizing to Pam, and she decides to give him another chance. Not wanting to witness this, Duncan heads to the water park with Peter. There is a big party happening now, and our hero is invited. It's Lewis's last day, and the team is saying goodbye to a favorite colleague. Lewis gives a farewell speech while getting sprayed with water guns. Then, an energetic dance starts, with everyone showing their talents. Owen flirts with Caitlin, and Duncan is happy for them. The guy's resting on a lounge chair at the water park, enjoying a nap. He admits to Owen that he's reluctant to return home. Duncan opens up about the issues happening within his family. The water weasel is the sole place where he truly feels joyful. Owen offers his support to the boy and shares stories of his own tough childhood. He suggests that Duncan should disregard Trent's views and pursue the life he desires. Following this conversation, Duncan and Peter make their way back home. Our hero encounters a furious Trent. Duncan is unwilling to speak with him. Meanwhile, Pam is gathering her belongings. She informs her son that they are leaving. Pam bids farewell to Betty, and Duncan says goodbye to Suzanne. At last, she kisses him. The family climbs into their car. Duncan, as usual, takes the back seat and gazes intently at Suzanne. Trent halts at a gas station to refuel. Pam is on the verge of tears. Duncan spots his water park nearby, leaps out of the car, and rushes over there. Pam quickly rushes after him, with Trent and Steph close behind. Duncan finds Owen and confesses that they're leaving soon. He wants to say goodbye to his friends, but before doing so, he wants to take one last ride down the Devil's Peak slide. And not just any ride, he wants to beat Owen, who will be going down first. Pam discovers that her son has been working at the water park throughout the entire summer, but he has kept it a secret from the family. Owen goes down the chimney slide, with Duncan following closely behind him. Our hero is the first to fly out of the tube. This is unprecedented in the history of this water park. The entire audience is absolutely ecstatic about it. Neither Duncan nor Owen will reveal how they managed to do it. Our hero then introduces Owen to his mother. Trent attempts to steal the guy away, but Owen stands up for him, proudly calling himself his best friend. Trent freaks out and walks away to his car. Duncan bids farewell to Roddy, Caitlin, and Lewis, and naturally Owen too. It's because of this man that our hero's summer wasn't as bad as it could have been. The family keeps going on their way back home. They remain silent throughout the entire trip. At one moment, even though Trent protests, Pam moves to the back seat with Duncan and gazes lovingly at her son. It seems she's finally made the right decision.